Good morning, everybody. It's your favorite thrifty crafter here with beautiful dreams. Today, I want to talk about Marketplace. Marketplace is awesome, isn't it? It's a great place to go find supplies. It's a great place to go find ideas. But let's talk about pricing, okay? Because I see some problems with pricing, and I hope those of you who are doing this really take this to heart, because I'm not trying to say this in a mean way. I really want you to think about it. Your craft supplies are not special, and they are not rare, and they depreciate. Thread and fabric especially. Old thread is not worth what you paid for it. Look at all this thread. It's beautiful, isn't it? Look at that gorgeous freaking thread. Holy cow, look at how much thread I have. The point is, it's not worth what I paid for it. Much as I'd like to think that it is, it's not. It can get dry rot. Sorry about the coughing. It ages. And I'll do a whole other segment on what to do with thread that's maybe got some problems. But a spool that's partially used is not what you paid for it. It's worth whatever's left. And it's not even worth that. This is how craft supplies should be priced. Realistically, people who are thrifty shopping, buying used things, they're not buying things used because, oh my gosh, I have to have that 1980s gold spool from, back when I was a little kid. I mean, there might be some people that do that, but they're still not valuable. They're not. They're awesome. I mean, let's face it. That's some cool looking crap right there. Shiny. But it's still not valuable. It's cool if it's not valuable. If it's still available in the store, most people that are going to buy something on Marketplace, craft supply wise, they're going to want it for half off at least. So knock half of whatever you paid for it off of there right there. Also, because it's been in your house, I know you're probably a very clean person, you took care of your stuff, and that's awesome, but the person buying it doesn't know that. And they might have allergies that you don't know about, or there might be things going on with that, like thread that has dry rot, that maybe you didn't realize because you left it sitting in a windowsill or it facing a window. This doesn't, but if it did, a lot of that thread wouldn't be very good right now because it's been there a long time. I've taken good care of my thread. A lot of this is my mom's. I'm still trying to use it up. But it's not worth anything as an item other than for its usefulness. So whatever it is you paid for it, like these patterns. Patterns, brand new, most people can get in the store realistically for $2 a piece now. Now, it used to be $1, but, tariffs, don't get me started. If I can buy that for $2 in the store brand new, I'm not going to pay $5 to you. Put it on sale for $1 if you're not going to use it. Just get rid of it. If you can't use it and you think somebody else can and you just want it gone, be realistic about what you're doing. Floss that's partially used. A skein of floss is up to 50 cents per skein now, which is insane. It used to be a cheap hobby. It's just really not now. So if you're going to sell a brand new skein, it's only worth 25 cents. If you're going to use a skein that's partially used or it's on a card and you can't tell how much is there, it's really only worth 10 cents a piece. Your card isn't worth anything. Your little baggie is not worth anything. The ring it's on, probably not worth anything. Price it accordingly. Put 10 cents on each of them. Most people will buy it up in a second for that. If you have a bunch of patterns, look, people who make doll clothes are not the people who make costumes, and they're not the people who make clothing, and they're definitely not the people who quilt. And some of those weirdos might be me who does all of those things, but there's most people, they want patterns for one type of thing. And people who are into country are definitely not into ultramodern, so you need to separate that stuff out. And if you don't want to separate that stuff out, then you need to either put all your patterns in a row like this in the picture, not in the box. Don't put them in the box, crammed up like that. Oh, look, I have 3 patterns. Well, are they 3 doll patterns, or are they 1 doll pattern and 2 patterns from the 1970s for clothes that are out of style that I'm not going to use because I don't costume? Put them like this, okay? See how you can see the numbers on here? So then if people can't see the picture, they can at least go look it up. Oh, look, this is the Simplicity 8071. I can go look that up. I can see it's the modern pattern, and they can buy it. Because Realistically, a thrifty crafter, this was all repurposed fabric. Every last bit of it. Look at how cute this little outfit is. I can't make another one of these because there's no more of this pink left. It was a scrap. I can probably make something similar, but I'm not going to make another one. I made that to keep that piece of pink fabric out of a landfill. I don't want to spend $10 to save the earth, okay? The whole point of thrifty crafting is to be thrifty. I'm not alone in this. I'm not the only person that buys used craft supplies, but I don't buy them just because I want to save the earth. I want to buy them because I have a budget, and I can get more bang for my buck using something to keep it out of a landfill than I can to necessarily buy it brand new in the store. And I love going to the store and looking at everything and maybe buying a few things, but realistically, a lot of my stuff is repurposed stuff, and I spend a lot of time looking for it, so my costs aren't much lower because I have to factor in how much gas I spend, how much time I spend online looking for things, how much time people waste because I get to their house and they made out like they had a ton of stuff and they just didn't. Take more than one picture of your item. If you have a bunch of things, I have a big box of craft supplies. You can have it for $20. Well, is it leather working? Is it feathers? Take a picture. Take it out of the box. Take a picture. Oh, I don't want to be bothered. Well, then you really don't want to sell it, do you? Either you want it gone. It doesn't take time to take pictures. You just take it out of the box. You lay it on your bed. You take a couple pictures with your phone or your tablet. And you're done. And you put it back in the box. And there you go. Don't be lazy. If you really want it out of your house, either if you're not going to put it on the curb, take the time to do it so that the people who would be interested will see what you have and say, oh yes, that is worth it. Because if you put something on the top of the box and it's not representational of the things in the box, maybe the person who's really your buyer is never going to see that. And then you've wasted your time and your money. Okay? Like I said, market accordingly. Nobody knows what goes on in your house. I'm sure you're clean. They don't know that. Please stop and think about the fact that your things are used. Even if you didn't use them, they've been in your house. This is like selling a car. If your car has been in your driveway, it's used even if it just sat there. Yeah, you get a little more because it's not been used a lot, but it's still used. People don't like being tricked. They don't like being cheated. Don't cheat me. If you have a rare thing, I mean, this happens. There's times when something's really rare. I think it was Riley Blake a few years ago did a pattern, fabric pattern that was baby stuff. And I think it was an ABC pattern. And people made so much money selling the stuff by the inch, sometimes $22 an inch. I couldn't believe it. Because a really high-end designer used the fabric in their baby line. But once that designer stopped using that line, everybody that spent all that money on that fabric that did not sell their products before it went, excuse the expression, but tits up. Once it went tits up, any fabric you had left that you spent $22 an inch, you ate that fabric. It's worthless now. So, and most fabric, oh gosh, most fabric is theoretically worthless. It's fabric. Yeah, you paid a lot for it in the store, but you drove out of the store with it, and it's not worth anything now. Because the person buying it has got to work around the yardage you bought, not the yardage they necessarily need. So maybe they're ending up with a lot more than they need, or maybe they need to buy a coordinating fabric to go with this, or maybe they don't know what they're going to do with it in the first place, and they're just buying it because they don't want to see it go into a landfill. Because I've seen a lot of people say, well, I need X amount of money for this because I have to move and blah, 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 blah. Well, if you really have to move and you really need to get rid of it, price it by what it's worth, not by what you want. Because, you know, I want $1 million, but I'm not going to get it for that little doll outfit I showed you. Or those 3 patterns, which are not for sale. Doll outfit is, though. Yardage. Let's get back to yardage. Yardage is really important. People who are buying fabric, if you're selling scraps, they're scraps. They're pretty much worthless to you, and guess what? They're worthless to everybody else, too. Some people buy scraps to put inside of those little ottoman poofs. That's what I use my scraps for when they get too small to use them for anything. Some people use them for rag quilts, whatever, but the realistic thing is they are scraps. Just sell them by the pound. $1 a pound. Whatever your thing weighs, that's how much it's worth. It is not worth, oh, well, this is $30 fabric, and it's all scraps of this $30 fabric. It's scraps! It's scraps! Nobody wants your scraps except for people who do, like, cheapo crafts. Little old ladies, okay? Don't screw little old ladies. That's not nice. Nobody likes people that do that. Just don't do it. Don't. Okay? Let's see. So let's get back to the yardage thing. If you're going to sell fabric on a bolt, terrific. I often will buy fabric on a bolt. I want to know how much fabric you have. If I text you and say, how much of this is here, and you say, I don't know, I'm going to have to go over with you an old clerk's trick that I learned back in the day when I was a little whippersnapper in high school working at Hancock Fabric, well into my 20s too. Yeah, let's not go into that. So, hold on a second. A little thirsty here. You're going to want to check what that yardage is, and there's a quick trick that you can do it. If you have a flat bolt, you know, and they're on the... So, fabric is folded in half and rolled on a flat bolt, okay? You're going to take that flat bolt, turn it on its side. You're going to pick up 2 pieces of fabric that are rolled on there. You start with the side where it has a full piece. Don't start where you've cut out things so that person has to work around that. It's worthless to them. Start with that part. Count 2 folds. 2 folds is about a yard. It's a little bit approximate because a bolt is about 1/4 of a yard wide. So 2 folds is a yard. Just about. If you have a tube, 1, 2, 3, 4 pieces of fabric around that tube is about a yard. If you want to be conservative, count 5. But 4 is probably pretty close. Don't, you have to excuse the coffee. My allergies are starting to act up all of a sudden, probably because it's dusty in here. People like to know how much they're getting. They want to know how much of this fabric is here because maybe they have a specific thing in mind for it. And if I drive all the way from Sandusky to Detroit to get this fabric and I need 6 yards and you have 4, because I know how to check, I'm going to be really upset that you wasted $10 in gas. If you said, oh, I think there's this much here, check. Please, please check. And if you don't know, be honest and review the blog or look up, how do I find out how much fabric I have on a bolt without measuring it? Because I'm sure somewhere somebody has a note on it. I might make a note on that. That's probably a good idea. I should make a note of that because that way it's always there in Google if somebody ever asks that question. How much is there? Hey, look, here's the answer. Your stuff isn't special, okay? It's special to me. Oh, it's so special. I love my thread, okay? I love my thread cabinet. My boss gave that to me when they changed out their cabinetry, and I adore this cabinet. And I adore the shelf next to it because my grandpa made it. But, you know, those aren't worth anything either, okay? You gotta stop, you gotta think, and you gotta go, okay, I get it. This is my stuff, and I love it, and it's special to me. But the person that's buying it is probably going to use it for something that I would never make out of it. And maybe they're going to sell it. Maybe they just really need a bargain because, let's face it, you walk around a craft supply store lately, their stuff's really gotten expensive. I'm really getting concerned about the cost of craft supplies because crafting was supposed to be an inexpensive way to have nice things, and now it has become a upper class hobby. And that's unfortunate. Crafting should be an everybody hobby. It shouldn't be something that poor people can't do. It shouldn't be something that middle class people can't do. Everybody should learn how to do crafting. It's very good for your soul. And Marketplace is a good place to get those supplies. But don't cheat people, okay? Just don't. Don't do it. Hope everybody has a great morning. Sorry about the coughing in the middle there. And have a good one. Sold.